Book 237. Good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Morning Motivation with Matthew Daniels, and today I'm going to tell you guys about the real reason they murdered Muammar Gaddafi in cold blood. That's right, the real reason they murdered Muammar Gaddafi in cold blood. But what is Matthew Daniels talking about? A long time ago, in a country that we call Libya today, one of the greatest leaders to ever hold the reins of that ancient and powerful nation was murdered in cold blood. This leader was named Muammar Gaddafi, and he ruled Libya from 1969 until his assassination in 2011. It is said that he was murdered by rebel forces within his own country during a civil war which erupted the same year as his murder, but this is not the entire truth. One of my ancestors, no less, was close to Muammar Gaddafi in the years leading up to his murder, and they have passed down directly to me from mouth to ear the real reason why he was murdered, and even the real hands upon which his blood should be placed. I was told that Muammar Gaddafi was at that time the head of the African Union, and one of the main objectives of this united front of African heads of states was to undo the evil and wicked acts done to Africa by what is called the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference, which took place in the years 1884 and 1885, was in essence several demonic European powers convening in a sinister meeting to divide up and colonize the continent of Africa. These European powers realized that their own countries did not have enough resources beneath their own soil to sustain themselves, but Africa had enough mineral wealth to sustain the entire globe. So, instead of dealing fairly with the African nations and allowing them to benefit from the richness of their lands, these European nations decided to rob and steal and deal cruelly with the Africans. Behind the scenes, the African Union had been working on multiple plans to finally break free of this European yoke of oppression, and the great Muammar Gaddafi, I was told, finally figured it out. In 2009, Gaddafi suggested that the African nations switch to a new currency which would be independent of the American dollar. This new currency would be called the gold dinar, and it would be backed by the physical resources beneath the African soil. One of the main objectives of this new currency was to divert oil revenues towards state-controlled funds rather than American banks. This one move would seemingly overnight make the African nations rich and the European nations who depended on oppressing the Africans poor. I was also told that Hillary Clinton, along with many others, realized how this move would cripple their economies, and so they decided that Gaddafi must be taken out before he could complete his objective. So, to effectively neutralize Muammar Gaddafi, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, also known as NATO, used its assets within Libya to start a civil war, and they funded those who would seek to overthrow Gaddafi. NATO also engaged in the war by bombing Libya and fully supporting the rebel forces. After several months, with the backing of NATO, Libya was in ruins and Muammar Gaddafi was captured and killed. And in order to deter other African nations from following up on his plans for the gold dinar, they sent footage of his brutal murder all over the world. And so, the morning motivation of today is the real reason they murdered Muammar Gaddafi in cold blood. The truth of the matter is that the good in this world must be willing to fearlessly confront the evil. Indeed, the wicked can only rule when the righteous do nothing to stop them. I would be lying if I said that it was easy to make the world a better place, and I would be lying if I said it could happen overnight. However, I would also be lying if I said it was impossible. It is indeed possible to improve this planet. However, we must be willing to sacrifice for those who will come after us. Today, do something to improve this world, regardless if you will personally benefit from it or not. And if you do, I can promise that the future will thank you for your efforts. So, go out and face the evil, and always strive to do that which is good. And remember, you are awesome, you are amazing, you are wonderful, and you are great. And you are going to change the world. I just hope I'm still alive to see it, family. I'm out. Good morning. To order books by the author Matthew Daniels, search Matthew Daniels on Amazon or visit www.dandyandbigherm.com.